I now call on the Acting Prime Minister and Attorney-General and Minister for Economy, Civil Service, Communications, Housing and Community Development, the Honourable Aiyaz Sayed-Khaiyum. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, Mr. Speaker, I was going to not labour this particular question in terms of my answer, but I think given the type of misunderstanding and ignorance shown by the other side, I think I'll have to give the full detail on this. So the Parliament should be aware that the financial system is made up of a number of sectors, including A, the banking sector, or banking industry, consisting of licensed banks, credit institution, and the Fiji Development Bank. B, the superannuation industry, which in Fiji is the Fiji National Provident Fund as the lone player, but considered the largest single financial institution in Fiji. C, the insurance industry, consisting of licensed insurance companies, intermediaries, which includes agents and brokers. D, the capital markets industry, consisting of the South Pacific Stock Exchange, managed investment schemes, unit trusts, stock brokers, and licensed investment advisors and their representatives. E, the foreign exchange industry, consisting of licensed foreign exchange dealers or money transfer operators. F, the credit information reporting industry, consisting of the licensed credit information reporting agency PT Limited and all its registered members. And G, the payment systems industry, of which the legislation was recently passed by Parliament, and ongoing work is being undertaken to implement the relevant regulatory framework. Mr. Speaker, so all of the sectors we have just mentioned are supervised by the Reserve Bank of Fiji under the various laws that the central bank administers. In terms of size, as of December 2021, the Fijian financial system continues to be dominated by the banking industry, making up 48.2% of the total assets of the financial system of $25.4 billion, followed by the Fiji National Provident Fund at 33.4%, the insurance industry at 8.7%, with other sectors combined except for the payment system industry consisting of less than 10%. It is therefore important, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the soundness of the Fijian financial system relies significantly on the safety and sustainability of the three sectors that make up more than 90% of the financial system. That is, the banking industry, the superannuation industry, and the insurance industry, with the banking and superannuation industries consisting of entities that are considered systematically important financial institutions. Mr. Speaker, sir, before I delve into some key assessments supporting the soundness of the financial system, Fijian financial system, we wish to highlight that the maintenance of a safe and sound financial system is directly linked to the RBF's objectives under Section 4C of the Reserve Bank of Fiji, which is to promote a sound financial structure. And one of the two core mandates of the central bank, which is to maintain financial stability. What is financial stability? The RBF defines it as the, quote, the ability of the financial system to adequately fulfill its key economic functions of efficient allocation of financial resources and effective mitigation of risks through the provision of a well-functioning structure at all times, unquote. The Speaker said the big picture, our economy has been through what we can only describe as the roughest patch in our history. Subsequently, given the direct relationship it has with the real sector, Mr. Speaker, sir, our financial system has faced its fair share of shocks, which we expect will continue to be managed in the years to come. In, however, seeking to effectively mitigate the impact of COVID-19 pandemic and ensuring continued prudent operations with relevant strategies for a sustained way forward, we can confirm that the Fijian financial system remains safe and sound, and financial stability continues to be enjoyed in Fiji at this point in time. The regulatory framework that provides for the supervision of the financial system continues to ensure that public trust and confidence in the financial system is well placed, so that all licensed entities, Mr. Speaker, sir, continue to deliver the services effectively, meeting stakeholder expectations. Licensed institutions are all able to meet regulatory requirements even during trying times such as now, riding on the strength of the balance sheets and risk management practices. Mr. Speaker, sir, now that we're in the third year of the pandemic, we see that this level of resilience and preparedness has served the financial institutions and consequently the general public as well, further strengthening the overall stability of the financial system. This is critical at this time as the nation looks to regain lost economic ground, efforts of which the financial system will be a key player. Mr. Speaker, sir, as we had stated earlier, the different sectors of the financial system, particularly the systematically important ones, have performed well before, during, and now in the latter stage of the pandemic. We expect them to continue to do so going forward. Licensed banks and credit institutions remain well capitalized and have continued to adequately perform their core functions of funds intermediation. As at 31 December 2021, capital adequacy as a key soundness indicator for the banking industry stood at 20.9% against the minimum requirement of 12% for banks and 29.1% for credit institutions against the minimum requirement of 15%. Credit risk, however, has been on an increasing trend, as expected due to the impact of COVID-19, with the ratio on non-performing loans to total loans increasing from 3% in December 2019 before the pandemic to 7% in December 2021 for banks, and respectively for credit institutions from 14.5% to 30.2%. Talking about people defaulting on their loans, not being able to pay at all. The elevated level of credit risk continues to be mitigated by provisions that have been set aside, as well as capital adequacy buffers to ensure that any materializing of credit risk is minimized. Excuse me, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, relief has also been provided on a case-by-case basis to those who were either directly or indirectly impacted by COVID-19 pandemic through loan repayment holidays, which is at the end of December 2021, stood at 13.8% of the industry's total loan book value of $997.8 million. $997.8 million. For comparison, at its peak, loans on repayment holidays stood at $2.8 billion. With the downward trend, a reflection of the initiation of economic recovery as loan customers are able to again secure income sources to pay for their loans. However, Mr. Speaker, so it should be noted that repayment holiday assistance is expected to conclude by the end of March 2022. The banking system continues to be fully liquid, with interest rates now at relatively low levels. As the economy recovers, the current low interest rate environment is expected to spur demand for credit and subsequently the effective allocation of financial resources with appropriate controls, thus underscoring financial stability in the medium to long term. FNPF remains solvent and continues to meet its legislated objectives, with the fund able to announce a similar level of actuarial assessed return to its members even in the midst of the pandemic. Liquidity is at a level that supports the fund's ability to continue to meet its obligations to members and indeed pensioners, while investment returns are positive. FNPF sustainability has continued to be confirmed with its meeting of the legislative solvency requirement, even during the institution's extensive efforts to provide relief assistance to members in the aftermath of natural disasters and during the pandemic. The insurance industry has remained operationally resilient even during the pandemic, reporting more than adequate levels of solvency surplus. Solvency requirements under the Insurance Act 1998 were met more than 17.9 times by the life insurance sector and more than 4.8 times by the general insurance sector as of September 2021. Gross premiums earned by the industry has continued to grow, indicative of the continued business placed within licensed insurance. All licensed insurance companies remain profitable, supporting the capacity to pay claims as they fall due. All other sectors of the financial system have effectively remained operational, rising to the call to serve Fijians, especially during the pandemic. In the process, Mr. Speaker, sir, a significant trend was observed in all financial institutions taking serious efforts to move to technological platforms as a means of business continuity during COVID-19. By strategically implementing digital solutions such as automation, mobile solutions, and remote network security systems, licensed financial institutions have tried to be better positioned to handle a wide array of working conditions, whether at the office, in the field, or indeed working from home. The credit reporting industry is making progress to fill the gap in ensuring fair reporting of credit, supports the efforts by lending institutions to ensure quality credit is provided, which in turn supports the soundness of the financial system. A number of entities have registered with the licensed Credit Information Reporting Agency Pte. Limited, and we expect more credit information to be reported and shared in the next 12 months, sir. Ongoing work is being undertaken by the relevant agencies of government and the private sector to finalize the legislative framework for the regulation of payment systems in Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is another significant development for financial stability, as the rapid evolvement of fintech and e-commerce has overhauled the structure of our financial system. We therefore expect the widening of the RBF supervisory ambit to capture mobile network and payment system operators to ensure a safe environment for Fijians to undertake financial transactions online and through mobile phones. Mr. Speaker, sir, we wish to reiterate that the Fijian financial system remains sound and stable. In the face of the most significant economic shock that Fiji has encountered, our licensed financial institutions have proven to be resilient and have continued to operate in a prudent manner. Our financial system has remained relevant, operationally strong, and innovating as appropriate. Going forward, we expect the financial system to play a key role in our economic recovery. Notwithstanding, Mr. Speaker, sir, what I've just said, risk to financial stability remains, which can be initiated by the failure of one institution or a group of licensed entities. Supervision at institutional level and surveillance at the system level is ongoing by the RBF. Closer monitoring of these risks will continue, and corrective measures will be implemented as deemed suitable. Mr. Speaker, sir, lastly, monetary policy and financial stability are very much interlinked. By ensuring that monetary policy objectives of foreign reserves and inflation are intact, the RBF was able to implement a accommodative monetary policy, which has resulted in a reduction in interest rates in the market. As we all know, sir, interest rate is a fixed cost, and the chances of any businesses surviving is higher when the interest rates are low. Mr. Speaker, sir, this is the first major crisis where interest rates has not risen to double digit, but has actually fallen, thereby assisting private businesses to survive, which in turn has helped in ensuring that financial institutions remain sound. I would like to, Mr. Speaker, sir, acknowledge the work done by the Governor of the RBF and his team, the Permanent Secretary for Economy, and also our Head of Treasury, and all the other team members that have actually ensured that behind the scenes a lot of work has been done to ensure that our financial system remains very sound. Thank you, sir.
I thank the Acting Prime Minister.